JP, now that you're on the subject of survival mind, I wanted to follow up with you about my neighbor's boyfriend.
Oh yes.
Soldier.
Please.
And in the private group, I had told him last week that there was a complete turnaround in 24 hours. It's quiet. The energy is completely different. I don't know if he's taken a permanent step in his healing, but maybe just even releasing the entities. Unfortunately, they do hang out at the bar in town, so it may be an ongoing thing, but I think there was a really deep healing done for him. And I feel a softness coming from him now when I look in his direction. The energy is not abrasive anymore. It's amazing.
Can you talk to him and tell him what happened?
Not yet. Not yet.
Again,
I'm working on making friends in a very, very non-threatening way, just smiling and waving. That's it right now.
does he seem... I mean, the focus that I picked up from him was the prosthetic. It represented everything. Did it seem like he was more at home with it being part of him? Because this was the nub of the energy that I was getting off him. This is where the rubber hit the road.
He seems to be busy this week. He's working on a dirt bike. He has a dirt bike, so I think that maybe his energy is better. So he's taking on some activities that he hasn't been doing for a while. So that might be a good sign. As I say, I just see them from a little distance, and I'm aware of what's happening with them, and I'm mostly just picking up on the feeling that I'm getting from them. But seeing him working on his truck or working on his dirt bike, it's positive. At least he's not just sitting around drinking and screaming. And yeah.
Well, that's interesting that he's working on a machine, because that will help him relate to the machine that he is now part of. You know, he's as far as he's concerned, he's like Bionic Man now, and he has come to terms with that foreign object becoming part of who he is and inhabiting the same place where his etheric body still is. And that's where the discomfort comes in. He can't see it, he may not even be aware of it, but your body is still there, even your bits have cut off. You've still got the blueprint there, and it's there on the foot, and there's a piece of metal there where there should be flesh and bone. And of course that's going to jar. It's not the right energy. Bless his heart.
And who knows what kind of counseling he's gotten, if any.
Yeah, he has a greater appreciation of his mechanical aspects now.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he may have been reflecting a form of a morphogenic field of others, maybe in his family, close by. The unsaid morphogenic field that there's something here that's insurmountable.
Mm-hmm.
Or just the fact that, as you were saying earlier, the family holds you informed. They see him as defective now. They see him as gone through suffering. There's too much sympathy and not enough compassion, perhaps.
And pulling the entities off of him gave him an opportunity to see and make a right choice instead of being prompted to wrong choice.
That's what I think.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad we could help.
Yeah,
and that's because I have to say that started me on a certain path that evening, and my heart was wide open from that guy. I mean, it really changed my day.
I thank you too, because it switched me completely from a state of a little bit of fear and concern and wanting to protect to joining the call 5 minutes in, and you were talking about compassion. And I did a flip in my mind, and my heart opened, and suddenly I saw it completely different, and you guys took me right through it. And I don't know if he changed, but I changed for sure.
That's the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the opportunity, Diane. It gave a leverage for a greater opportunity of compassion. which is, I hope, has put some benefit out. But just hearing what you're saying, that the energies have calmed down completely, that just justifies to me, because I'm still learning this stuff. Frank's been teaching us this stuff, and I'm holding it in the light, saying, okay, yeah, I've heard about all the theory of this. And so I'm doing the sandbox and seeing if that can happen. And I do seem to be actually tuning into people and somehow grounding out energy that they can't express themselves. And that's what I felt like I was doing last week.
Wonderful.
And that's a very powerful point, JP, in doing this. And I'm doing the same thing. It's one thing to read it, and it's something very different to internalize it, use it, put it into practice, and watch it be successful. And then you know it, in your core, which is different than just reading going, oh, well, that sounds legitimate, but doing it is legitimate.
And when you have it in your core, you are automatically doing it to everyone around you, or that is in your field, morphogenic field or otherwise. So you're becoming a living force of consciousness out there, making the difference.
Yes. That's exactly what I said in my last show, that this is the nature of the second ray soul carrier, and other rays as well. But in general, the human soul has the ability to be impressed, like a coin is stamped, to be impressed by other people's expression. And they express, we get impressed, and that's like taking a copy, like a wax mold of something, and then we feel that, internalize that, and then express back whatever is the appropriate frequency to calm that down, to balance that out, because that's the nature of the fourth ray of the planet, and that's what we've learned to do. That's humans. When humans are healed, they just are naturally healers, exactly as you just mentioned. Thank you.
Precisely. I always said that every healing, no matter how mundane it might be, was a spiritual experience, and that everyone who experiences particularly a really profound healing, it creates a shift in their consciousness and opens them up to the potential of far greater things. These things I do, you can do, and even greater things.
Yes.